പാടുന്നു പ്രിയരാഗങ്ങൾ ചിരിമായാതെ നഗരം തേടുന്നു പുതുതീരങ്ങൾ കൊതി തീരാതെ ഹൃദയം കണ്ണെത്താ ദൂരത്തെ കൺചെമ്മും ദീപങ്ങൾ നാം കണ്ട സ്വപ്നങ്ങൾ പോ ലൈലാകമേ പൂച്ചൂടുമോ വിടവാങ്ങുമീ രാത്രിതൻ വാതിലിൽ ആകാശമേ നീ പെയ്യുമോ പ്രണയാർദ്രമീ ശാഖിയിൽ എന്നിതാ.
Hello everyone. Welcome to another episode of our mini-series. Continuing with our storytelling and narration episodes, we have a very special guest today, all the way from Kerala. His name is Shersha. Hi Shersha.
Hi, Anukul.
So we roped in Shersha because again, through all our stories, we wanted to enter the territory of regional languages as well. It always intrigued me as to what short stories or what folk tales would have been like in regional languages. I mean, I only read it in English and Hindi, and I could learn a lot about languages or how people would like to say things. But I was always keen to know more about what other people have to say and if there was any sort of similarity in that. So I'll just hand it over to Shersha. Shersha, before telling us your story, I also want you to introduce yourself a little bit. Tell us about yourself.
Yes, so as he said, I'm from Kerala. I'm from Trivandrum, and I did my major part of I spent my major part of life here only, Kerala only. Did my schooling here. I did my engineering here. Post which I did MBA at IIM Indore.
Okay.
After IIM Indore, I worked in few corporate companies, and then I left job for my dream. I am trying to be an actor. I'm an acting aspirant. That's what I would say.
Oh, wonderful.
Nice.
Yes. So I have acted in a couple of movies in Malayalam.
Okay.
I'm waiting for their release. It hasn't released yet. So none of them have released. Yeah.
I wish you all the best. And even
Yes.
you let me know in which movies you appear. I would love to see them too.
Yes, man. Once they release, I'll give you the links. It should be
Yeah,
there
yeah.
on Prime or whatever, Netflix. Or since it's global now, it's available.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the part. It's global. And anyways, like even in one of our episodes earlier, we were discussing about Malayalam movies and
Yeah.
how they are breaking all the norms right now. Like it is one of the best Indian movie industry of current times. And like we have been
Yes.
like we have been amazed at the content that's coming out of Malayalam cinema. So yeah,
I
I'm
wish
very
we
happy
get
when
more takers, because as per Netflix, as far as I know, they have their vernacular preferences. So Malayalam is kind of 6th or 7th. So their preference to buy Malayalam content is very low.
Oh,
Unfortunately.
Okay.
Yes. That's what I've heard. It should shoot up. I want them to buy more content and put it on Netflix.
Yeah, if Netflix want to make a successful market in India, it better start making some smart decisions. Yeah, because yeah, that's the future. So yeah, what's the story you have for us today? Tell me.
So it's a short story which I've read 10-15 years ago, and it somehow stuck to me. And all of a sudden, when you asked me this, that's the name. It just popped out of my head. It starts with a man traveling in a bus. The author calls him Father. He doesn't have a name. The author calls him Father. And his father is traveling in bus at night after a cremation. So basically his wife passed away. It was a normal working day. It was a Monday. And he's going back home, back to his kids. So all his 3 kids are sleeping. So this is a city the author mentions it's a city, but then where the location is where the middle class people stay.
Okay.
So throughout the story, there is a touch of poverty, which is there is a struggling middle class. So this guy is traveling in bus and he's thinking how the day went and what his wife told him. It's a Monday morning. Please get up from bed. That's the only thing he can remember.
Yeah.
So she said it in Malayalam ki മൂടിപ്പുതച്ച് കിടന്ന് ഉറങ്ങിയാ പറ്റുമോ ഇന്ന് തിങ്കളാഴ്ചയല്ലേ. That's what she says. That's the only thing he can remember. And he's trying to remember hard what else she told him. But then nothing he can remember. And he also tries to repeat these words. So as he's traveling in the bus, he keeps on repeating these words inside his head so that he can't forget these lines. It's like a prayer for him. It becomes a prayer. So he's very much shocked and he's angry at her because she left. And as soon as he steps out of the bus, he gets a knee pain. And all of a sudden, he becomes very anxious and he becomes sad that if something happens to him, there is no one for his kids. So all three are male kids, and then the eldest being a 10-year-old, the youngest is a 5.
Okay.
And he remembers the incident of. So he came back from office and he remembers the wife was lying down on the floor with her mouth open. So he suddenly thought maybe she's sleeping on floor, but then he found it awkward. She's on the floor, and then suddenly he had to rush her to the hospital. He was taking her in a cab, and none of the kids were crying. I mean, the eldest wasn't crying. The middle also wasn't crying. The youngest was crying. So he was surprised. And then the youngest was crying awkwardly, the 5-year-old, because he wanted to get inside a car.
Okay.
So, and then as soon as he reaches hospital, doctor told him that she has passed away 2 hours ago. And then he feels very angry at her that she just left. She was a homemaker. And he suddenly remembers, I mean, what he thinks is tomorrow, the next day, how he is going to write a leave letter to the boss. My wife died and I need leave for few days. So he thinks about his boss's expression and he thinks he doesn't even know his wife. So all of a sudden he gets angry at the boss also. And then as he walks to the house, he thinks of his wife who he had taken for granted. Like she was always there making food. She had a smell of turmeric. So while she was giving the tiffin box in the morning, he remembers there was turmeric on her hands. So all those imageries kind of stayed with me from childhood. I still remember this kind of transport bus. So we have a KSRTC bus in Kerala. So I still remember that transport bus. From my childhood, when I remember reading this, I remember that turmeric. I remember that transport bus. I remember this walk towards his house. So all these small imagery stayed back with me. As he remembers, while traveling in the bus, he remembers how his kids looked. So all of them, they had oily skin. They were tanned, and they didn't look smart. Also, they were not smart. They were not good looking. What he remembers is this line which she says. ഉണ്ണി 10 വയസ്സ്, ബാലൻ 7 വയസ്സ്, രാജൻ 5 വയസ്സ്. മുഖത്ത് എല്ലായ്പ്പോഴും മെഴുക്കുപറ്റി നിൽക്കുന്ന 3 കുട്ടികൾ. പറയത്തക്ക സൗന്ദര്യമോ സാമർഥ്യമോ ഒന്നുമില്ല അവർ. പക്ഷെ അമ്മയും അച്ഛനും അന്യോന്യം പറഞ്ഞു. So despite the fact that they were not smart, they were not good looking, they had dreams about them. So she says, I want to make the eldest son an engineer because അവൻ എപ്പോഴും ഓരോന്ന് ഉണ്ടാക്കിക്കൊണ്ടിരിക്കും. Which means he always keeps making something. And the second one, Balan, she says, I want to make him a doctor because അവന്റെ നെറ്റി കണ്ടോ, വലിയ നെറ്റി ബുദ്ധിയുടെ ലക്ഷണമാണ്. Which means his forehead is very large, which means he's very intelligent. Then the youngest, Rajan, ഇരുട്ടത്ത് നടക്കാനും കൂടി പേടിയില്ല. Means he's not scared of darkness. അവൻ സമർത്ഥന, പട്ടാളത്തിൽ ചേരേണ്ട മട്ട. He's smart, he'll join army. So these are all the middle class dream that she carries. Then he mentions about the place that they are staying. Says ki It is a place where middle class people stay. ഇടത്തരക്കാർ താമസിക്കുന്ന ഒരു ചെറിയ തെരുവ്. It's a small street. On a first floor. ഒന്നാം നിലയിൽ 3 മുറികളുള്ള ഒരു ഫ്ലാറ്റ്. It's a flat with 3 bedroom. ഒരു മുറിയുടെ മുമ്പിൽ കഷ്ടിച്ച് 2 ആൾക്ക് നിൽക്കാൻ സ്ഥലമുള്ളൂ. Hardly 2 people can stand there. He tries to remember all the little elements he would have taken for granted, like how she kept the kitchen, where she would have hanged, where she used to hang the ladle, the kitchen cutleries, all the stuff he tries to remember. And then he remembers that wooden stool, which he always uses. And today, I mean, right now, it is almost worn out. That stool has kind of diminished. I still remember this line actually. What she has written is this. അടുക്കളയിൽ ചുമരിന്മേൽ തറച്ചിട്ടുള്ള കൊളുത്തുകളിൽ പിച്ചള ചട്ടുകങ്ങളും കരണ്ടികളും തൂങ്ങിക്കിടക്കുന്നു. All this ladle is kept on the wall. സ്റ്റൗവിന്റെ അടുത്ത് അമ്മ ഇരിക്കാറുള്ള ഒരു തേഞ്ഞ പലകയുമുണ്ട്. അവൾ അവിടെ ഇരുന്ന് ചപ്പാത്തി ഉണ്ടാക്കുമ്പോഴാണ് സാധാരണമായി അച്ഛൻ ഓഫീസിൽ നിന്ന് മടങ്ങിയെത്തുക. സോ always whenever he comes back from office, what is the regular visual that he gets to see is she making chapati sitting on that stool. That's a regular visual he gets to watch. She has a pot with rose, and roses have not bloomed, so she has hope. Every day she takes care of the rose. She puts water, she takes care of that rose, but then it has not bloomed yet. So somewhere I feel she is a very hopeful character throughout the story. And all of a sudden that hope has died. What happens is, as he reaches home, all 3 are sleeping. So he was expecting them to cry. Again, none of them were crying. They were sleeping. And as he reaches them, they wake up and they they ask him, where is mom? So suddenly he thinks maybe I should not tell them. Maybe the truth can wait for one more day. And he says, she'll come tomorrow. Okay. And then none of them had dinner. He goes to the kitchen. Yeah. And in the kitchen, he goes to the dining table and he finds there are a lot of bowls kept closed. So he just opens and figures out she has already prepared dinner. അയാൾ അടുക്കളയിൽ തിണ്ണമേൽ അടച്ചു വെച്ചിരുന്ന പാത്രങ്ങൾ തട്ടുകങ്ങൾ നീക്കി പരിശോധിച്ചു. അവൾ തയ്യാറാക്കി വെച്ചിരുന്ന ഭക്ഷണം, ചപ്പാത്തി, ചോറ്, ഉരുളക്കിഴങ്ങ് കൂട്ടാൻ, ഉപ്പേരി, തൈര്. So she has prepared chapati, there is rice, there is potato, then there is curd, and then in a special bowl, in a glass bowl, she has prepared Neypayasam, this ghee. And then he feels maybe it is death touched. മരണത്തിന്റെ സ്പർശം തട്ടിയ ഭക്ഷണ സാധനങ്ങൾ വേണ്ട, അതൊന്നും ഭക്ഷിച്ചുകൂടാ. Maybe they should not eat it. It's not fair. So he decides to go and make upma for his kids. So meanwhile, kids open this they open the lid and they see the food. So they are also very excited to eat Neypayasam. So by the time the youngest one has already put his fingers in Neypayasam and he has begun to lick. So he says, കുട്ടികൾ പായസം കഴിച്ചു തുടങ്ങി. അയാൾ അത് നോക്കിക്കൊണ്ട് നിശ്ചലനായിരുന്നു. കുറെ നിമിഷങ്ങൾക്ക് ശേഷം അയാൾ ചോദിച്ചു, ചോറ് വേണ്ടേ ഉണ്ണി? Then he asked Unni, the eldest one, don't you want rice? So Unni says, no, we just need Neypayasam. It tastes so good. So the youngest one, Rajan, ചിരിച്ചുകൊണ്ട് പറഞ്ഞു, ശരിയാ അമ്മ അസല നെയ്പായസം ഉണ്ടാക്കത്. Like mom has made really nice Neypayasam. She has already done her duty and she passed away. So all of a sudden he kind of sheds tears and he tries to hide his tears and he leaves the room saying that I have headache. തന്റെ കണ്ണുനീർ കുട്ടികളിൽ നിന്ന് മറച്ചു വെക്കുവാൻ വേണ്ടി അയാൾ പെട്ടെന്ന് എഴുന്നേറ്റ് കുളിമുറിയിലേക്ക് നടന്നു. Like he goes to the washroom, hiding his tears. That's the last scene. So this is Neypayasam. It's pretty short, but then it kind of touched me back then.
Yeah, even the last part where you said that she did all her duties before dying is so crazy. And to think about, like, the work is never thanked for enough. It's such a thankless job.
Basically, there are a lot of people in our life I feel we take for granted.
Yeah.
My grandmom, I feel, my mother, the kind of endless work she keeps doing in the kitchen and things keep coming out of the kitchen. We don't know how much work she puts in.
Yeah, beautiful story. Very, very beautiful.
Yes. I think I know why it's like etched in your memories, because I think it's the first time even I've read these thoughts after someone's death being like put into a story like that.
Yeah.
And in such detail as to like what would exactly go in your head after a loved one's death.
Yeah. Also, this is I don't know. This account was very unfiltered in a way.
It was raw. I feel it was raw in a lot of ways.
Yeah. So yeah, I think because a lot of times even we don't know how we are handling grief, but every kind of thought comes in our mind, and sometimes they are not sad. So you didn't tell us the name of the author though. Who wrote it?
Her name is Madhavikutty, and later on she changed her name to Kamala Suraya.
Okay.
So she has written a lot of novels, short stories, poems and all.
puzhayum സന്ധ്യകളും നീലമിഴിതളുകളും ഓർമ്മകളിൽ പീലി നീർത്തി ഓടിയെത്തുമ്പോൾ പ്രണയിനി നിൻ സ്മൃതികൾ പുഴയും സന്ധ്യകളും പ്രണയിനിയുടെ ചുണ്ടുകൾ ചുംബനം കൊതിക്കവേ ചന്ദ്രലേഖമുഖിലിനോടെന്തു ചൊല്ലി അറിയുമോ? പ്രണയിനിയുടെ ചുണ്ടുകൾ ചുംബനം കൊതിക്കവേ ചന്ദ്രലേഖമുഖിലിനോടെന്തു ചൊല്ലിയറിയുമോ? പൂനിലാവിൻ മണിയറ സഖികളായി താരവൃന്ദമാകവേ പകർന്നു തന്ന ലയലഹരി മറക്കുമോ? ആ ലയലഹരി മറക്കുമോ? പുലരിയിൽ നിൻമുഖം തൊടുത്തൊടുത്തതെന്തിനോ ഈ പുഴയും സന്ധ്യകളും നീലമിഴിതളുകളും എത്ര രാവുകൾ മുത്തണിക്കിനാവുകൾ പൂത്തുലഞ്ഞ നാളുകൾ മങ്ങി മാഞ്ഞു പോകുമോ? എത്ര രാവുകൾ മുത്തണിക്കിനാവുകൾ പൂത്തുലഞ്ഞ നാളുകൾ മങ്ങി മാഞ്ഞു പോകുമോ? പ്രേമഗഗന സീമയിൽ കിളികളായി മോഹമെന്ന് ചിറകിൽ നാം പറന്നുയർന്ന് കാലവും കൊഴിഞ്ഞുവോ? ഓ സ്വപ്നവും പൊലിഞ്ഞുവോ? കണ്ണുനീർ പൂവുമായി ഇവിടെ ഞാൻ മാത്രമായി പുഴയും സന്ധ്യകളും നീലമിഴിതളുകളും ഓർമ്മകളിൻ പീലി നീർത്തി ഓടിയെത്തുമ്പോൾ പ്രണയിനി നിൻ സ്മൃതികൾ പുഴയും സന്ധ്യകളും.
Thank you so much for tuning in and listening to this story. A big shout out to Advait and Arun Shivdas for lending their beautiful voices and doing those amazing song covers. For further details related to this episode and our mini series Sola Parchi Dhap, do check out the description box.